Welcome to Overcome Podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to talk with Greg Thumper. Greg has an amazing story about some of the injuries that he had, but the major one was when he was training to a strongman competition, doing squats with almost 1,000 pounds, and then he basically broke both legs during the racking of the weight. Pretty devastating, and the way that he overcame that and came back to continue to inspiring people and lifting weights is quite amazing. So let's get it started. Welcome to Overcome Podcast, my friend Greg. Glad to have you here.
Good to be here, Yuri. Thanks for having me, bud.
Hey, Greg. So the reason why I decided to invite you to this show is because I know you probably for the past 10 years, maybe, and you always have a smile on your face, despite despite everything that is going on. And there was a lot of things going on in probably the past 2 years of you. A lot of injuries, fixing things here and there, and you were always very positive on everything. So before we even talk about the injuries, let me ask you, what really makes you that way? What is your mindset to go through those difficult times? Always so positive, because I don't know anyone more positive than you, my friend.
Well, it's just the way I've always been. I've always been the fat, happy, jolly kid. Always, the one that always wanted to make people laugh, make people smile, make people feel good. It's like I always say, if I can make you smile, it's worth my while. I've got all the little sayings like,
Yes.
Greg, and everybody's like, we need to write a coffee table book. There ain't nothing to it but to do it, man. And if you can help somebody, make them a hand, make them two if you can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And with that, let's go back to, I think it was 2 years ago when you had your ankle replacement. It was an ankle replacement, right?
Yeah, it was a partial ankle fusion, partial replacement, partial fusion. The original injury happened in '05, training for a strongman contest, doing a super duper heavy squat. Both my legs broke. Right leg, tibia, fibia, compound fracture, exploded my left ankle. That was the original injury.
Oh, really? It was that bad? It was during the squat?
Yeah.
What was the weight there in the bar?
Just a little under 1,000 pounds.
Oh,
So
my
yeah, it
goodness. That's wow.
But like I said, you and me came from the same background. We were once overweight, not as healthy as we are now. And then once we got into the healthy lifestyle, it became we both realized how beneficial it was and how good it makes you feel.
Yeah.
That original injury in '05, it was pretty severe. They told me I'd never walk again. I'd never walk correctly. I would never be able to drive a truck again. Of course, I've been driving truck for 30 years now. So, and that's the one thing I've always been. If somebody tells me I can't do something, I have to. It's that mindset. I have to show them that I can. I'll find a way to do it. It doesn't matter if I have to do it differently. I'm going to find a way to do it. But that original injury, the left ankle being crushed so bad, and the cartilage, they wanted to cut my foot off, but my wife begged them not to cut the foot off. They pieced it back together. So that was the original injury. And, I came back from that, actually came back and competed in Texas Strongest Man, competed in more powerlifting, found a way around it, worked really, really hard at rehab.
How long ago was the rehab, Greg?
The rehab, I was in the hospital for 6 full weeks because both my legs were broken.
6 weeks. 6 weeks at the hospital.
At the hospital, inpatient in the hospital, 6 weeks, and then after that, they told me it would take me a year to get back to work. I made it back to work in 5 months and 23 days. So just working hard, doing what I could, working double hard at rehab and just doing everything I could to not necessarily to prove them wrong, but I didn't want to be told that my whole life was going to change and I was going to find a way to get it back to where I
Yeah.
want, but that was the
And
original.
right, the original, but that's impressive because I didn't know it was both legs, and I didn't know it was a compound fracture. That's man, that's insane.
Yeah, that was to the right leg. The left ankle is the one we had to replace. But that happened after I came back. The cartilage damage was so bad. After about 10 years after the original injury, it got to the point, Yuri, where I was in so much pain. I couldn't. You remember when you first met me, that severe limp that I had.
Yeah,
So
well, that was like 10 years ago at Metroflex Plano that we met.
yeah. So had a severe limp, and it just eventually got to where the pain was so great, but the only option I had was to completely fuse the ankle. I mean, where they lock it in place and you don't get any movement. And then the last few years, Arthrex came out with a partial fusion, partial replacement, which still allows you some side-to-side motion. I only have 20% up and down, but you still have some side-to-side. So that's what I did.
That's interesting because don't you need more than 25% to be able to walk?
No, actually, you don't. I mean, the flexion of the top of your foot, which you're going to find out with your injury, the flexion in the top of your foot makes up for the loss of up and down motion. Whereas the ankle is fused directly at the ankle joint where my shin won't move forward, but the flexion of my foot allows me to have a more proper gait.
Okay.
And, I've worked with several different rehab people. Patrick the Punisher has been instrumental in retraining my body how to, get back to normal from that injury. But like I said, they in 17, that's when we did the partial fusion, partial replacement, and I was only off for 3 months for that because, like I said, I worked double hard with the rehab. Was back at work, and within 6 months, the videos you've seen of me pulling the truck, that was 6 months after the ankle replacement.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh,
That's amazing. But let me go back to the original injury.
yep.
That you were 6 weeks at the hospital.
Yep.
How long it took for you to be back of lifting weight after that one?
That took a little bit longer, but
But what is longer? 1 year, 2
let's
years?
see. No, it wasn't even a year, Yuri. It was probably maybe 3 months. I was back in the gym in a wheelchair, just working my upper body, casts on both legs. Mrs. Thump was instrumental. She would carry me to the gym every day, working on my rehab. Because, I would get in the hammer strength machines and work my chest. You just train other parts of your body to make up for what you're lacking. And
Yeah.
people don't really realize how beneficial that is when you train. Like when I had the ankle replacement, I was still training my right leg. I was in the gym 4 days after surgery. That's like when we were talking on Instagram Messenger. I was in the gym 4 days after surgery, but my doctor was kind enough to change my cast every week because like we sweat a lot.
Yeah, because sweat a lot.
Yeah, but so that was very beneficial to me. I wish I could have sent you some of the pictures and videos beforehand, but yeah, they're all on my Instagram. If you want to go back and look, from that ankle replacement, there's videos of me getting back into the gym and trying to.
No,
motivate
yeah,
people,
I've seen
trying to
some.
make
I've seen some.
people.
Yeah, I've seen some.
But yeah, it's just it was just a mindset that I refuse to quit working. I don't know if it's my work ethic or what, but like I said, it's just about motivating people to me. There's nothing you can't do if you put your mind to it. The mind is the most powerful thing, and if you put your mind to it, it will overcome. You may not be the same, but you can overcome so many obstacles if you put your mind to it.
That's so true. That's so true. But let me ask you a trick question. With this whole thing, with the first major injury when you were at the hospital, didn't you have any like dark moment of depression or anything like that, or you just not that guy at all?
No, there are times that I struggled with it. There are times that even after since the ankle replacement with the other injuries I've had, which we'll get into, but there are times when I'm like, gosh, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep doing this? And there's some little spark in the back of my head. Maybe it's, I don't know. Mrs. Thump always is super encouraging to me, and she's been my rock for 25 years. So I owe a lot of it to her. But I've always been that happy person. But yeah, there were times when I was like, man, if I just get back to driving truck, maybe I'll just quit the gym. And then there's always that little spark that I can't let it go.
Yeah.
It's that little spark of wanting to be there, be around the people, be around people like you, like Greg, like everybody that we know. That part of me,
it's a healthy environment. It's like this is exactly what happened to me at the beginning. It's almost like I lost my whole identity because I was not at the gym. I was not doing what I like to do. So it's super healthy. Once you are on that environment that everyone is pushing each other, it's super healthy. So I give a lot of kudos to you to overcome all of those obstacles, mainly with the first injury, because that's devastating. Both legs. Yeah. That's really crazy.
It was something, especially when the doctor told me that, you might never walk right again. You might never be able to push the clutch in the truck again with that foot. Because the tibia and fibia on the right foot had crushed the ankle and went down into the heel and it was almost a compound fracture on the left side, but luckily the bone stayed inside. And like I said, they wanted to amputate it, but we begged him not to. He pieced it back together the best that he could. It wasn't a perfect job, but like I said, I was able to overcome it. Yeah, I had a terrible limp there for a while, but I was able to overcome it. But yeah, it was, a couple months, 6 weeks in the hospital. Probably a month after that, I started going back to the gym. I was in a wheelchair at home. We lived in an upstairs loft apartment, which means I had to go up and down the stairs on my arms every day.
Wow.
To get in and out of the house. Yeah, you put my butt on the stairs and lift myself down the stairs with my arms. And that's how my arms got to be so massive. One part of my body took over where my legs couldn't do anything, and my arms got massive. And they're still pretty decent, even though I've had some injuries to them. But, it's amazing how the mind and the body can overcome or compensate for something that's not there at that time. It'll eventually come back, but the mind and the body will compensate for something that you can't physically do, and you'll find a way to do it. So it was pretty tough, but like I said, I think the injury was August 26, 2005, and the only thing Mrs. Thump wanted for Christmas that year was to see me walk without the walker, and that's really what motivated me, because this was super devastating to her as well. It really motivated me to work hard to be able to get off that walker for her Christmas present that year, and I did it. Like I said, August 26th, by Christmas time, I was off the walker. It wasn't for a super extended period of time, but I think by February of the next year, I was back at work, walking on my own back at where I was walking with a cane. I had to walk with a cane for a few months, but it was something I was able to do, and I think that's what inspired me to do it. That's really what she wanted to see, was to see me be able to take a couple of steps for her Christmas present that year. And that's what I set my mind to do.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And when did you feel confident enough to go back and start lifting heavy with your legs, right?
With my legs, it was probably June of the next year. So probably a little, what would you say, about 10 months?
Yeah.
So it was 10 months, and then I was doing leg extensions even with the casts on. The right leg had a cast to the thigh for the first 10 weeks. So once the cast to the thigh came off, and they had put a titanium rod from the knee to where the compound fracture was, there was a rod in my leg for a year and a half. I think I had the rod removed a year and a half later. But I would say probably I started doing leg extensions and leg curls. Even when I couldn't walk, I wanted to keep my atrophy from setting into my thighs as much as possible. Sometimes it was painful, but like you say, you work through it, and was able to do that. So I would probably say before I started putting any significant weight on just going back to leg pressing, I didn't know if I could ever squat again, was probably 10 months.
But did you squat?
Yeah, I've squatted since then. Yeah, even with the limited mobility of the ankle at that time, I found I could turn my ankles out a little further, and
almost like a sumo squat.
Oh, exactly like a sumo. I went more sumo with toes pointed out and was able to squat, and even compete after that injury. But like I
Oh,
said, over
really?
the
So
yeah,
what was your PR after that?
after that
Uh,
was 500 pounds. This was the best I could do.
yeah,
So, but yeah,
which still a very impressive number.
but it's not that it was causing me pain. It was there. Where you're talking about a mental block. That was where the mental block was like, oh, if I do any more, I'm going to screw up again, which I didn't want to do. But like I said, over the next 10 years after the original injury, the ankle just deteriorated to the point where it was just super painful to walk. And then, the opportunity for me to have that partial fusion replacement done, I was scared to do it. I'm going to let you know 100% I was scared. Is this going to make it worse? Is this going to work? But I have to say now, since 2017 is when we did it, January of 2017 is when they did it, I actually am really glad I did it because it improves the quality of my life as far as pain and stuff.
Are you pain free?
Yeah, I am pain free now. In the ankle department, I'm pain free. I have some issues with the shoulder, which we'll get into, but right now, as far as the ankle goes, yeah, I'm pain free. And like I said, with Patrick Brennan working with me and improving my gait, he got me, to where I could walk without a limp again. So he's been very beneficial.
So he was doing basically some stretching exercise on your ankle?
Stretching exercises, functional movement training, and basically retraining my body to walk straight after walking with a limp for 13 years. He actually got me to, make the muscles that had taken over for the less dominant muscles to make me actually be able to walk. We had to learn how to retrain those muscles to refire to get my central nervous system to actually activate those muscles again. Just functional strength training.
Wow, that's fantastic. And did the first injury when you came back to lifting and competing, were you hesitant only on the squat, or did you also have to lower your weight for the deadlifts?
Yeah, deadlifts and everything. I'd say everything. Squats cut by I would say 40 to 50%. Deadlift was probably down. Before I could pull a 700, and then after the most I was willing to put on that ankle was 550. 550, 600 600 was my best deadlift after the original injury.
Okay, but that's because of the ankle. That was not functioning properly, or was because it was the fear of the legs failing?
I think it had a lot. This was after the original injury. I didn't have the correct function. That's why I had the crooked walks and the limp that I dealt with for so long. But yeah, I think that a lot of it was, a mental block, which I've learned to overcome, since then, since the ankle replacement. That mental block is definitely gone now. But I'm definitely getting older. I can't do what I used to do 20 years ago. Now, especially being, in my late 50s now, it's crazy. I've kind of had to think after the ankle replacement and the next 3 injuries that have gone on that, since then, I've had to learn it's not about how much anymore. It's about how long do I want to do this.
Yeah, no, that's very smart because with time, and people say that age is just a number, and there is a beauty in saying that, but at the same time,
it is.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's really not just a number, right? I mean, there are a lot of things, mainly the recovery, the healing, is not as fast as used to be. So as you said, sometimes it's not so much about how much you can put in at the bar. It's more about for how long you want to keep doing that.
How long it's more about how long do I want to be in the gym and be around the people that I care about and the people that I want to see do good. It's being around that environment is so mentally beneficial. People don't realize mental health is, especially with what, the country's going through now, mental health is very important. And people don't realize just being in that environment, being around people you care about that have that like mindset is super beneficial to your mental well-being.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I'm 77 days. Actually, today is 78 days without being able to walk.
Yeah.
and has been really a difficult time to me because
Yeah.
I'm a very active person, as you know.
Yeah.
Um, I've been lifting again for the past 2 weeks in my
Yeah.
garage, only upper body because finally I got the authorization, and that already improved my mood, already improved a lot of things. Just the fact that I'm able to lift again, right?
Yeah.
But
It gives you that feeling you've been missing.
yeah, but the mobility in the foot is tough because I started physical therapy last week, and
Yeah.
simple things that I'm not able to do is kind of frustrating. But I'll get there. I'll get there for sure.
I promise you'll get there. When I came back from the 17 replacement, um, just like you said, being able to curl your toes,
Yeah.
it was a major thing. And I used acupuncture from the original injury. I had what they called drop toe on the right foot, where one of the nerve was severed on the right leg. I used acupuncture because I couldn't even lift my big toe. I used acupuncture. I went once a week to acupuncture. There's so many different beneficial things that you can do to help your recovery, and now that toe moves just fine. It's 15 years later, but yeah, there's so many little different beneficial things that you can do, and it may cost you a little more to go do it because it may not be covered under your insurance. But to me, it was well worth it
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
to do those little things. But yeah, I understand your frustration because when you first come out of the cast and the foot won't move and it's atrophied, it's very frustrating. And you'll sit there. I would sit there and lay in bed and just try to will that ankle to just move a little bit. And it was probably a month after the ankle replacement before I was able to start getting any decent movement. But I promise you, it will come in time. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Keep that positive outlook. Turn to people around you. Like, I send you positive messages as much as I can.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
It will
that.
come
I
back.
appreciate that.
Just believe it. You have to believe it. It will.
And the other thing also is this whole thing. I'm pretty sure that, despite the fact that you are already a very positive guy, but you start finding gratitude on the little things that probably you were not so grateful in the past, right? So for me, for example, just the fact that I will be able to just freaking walk, right? Just walk, it's
Yeah.
something so basic, and
Yeah.
now I'm missing, and I'll say, man, when I'm able to walk, I will be so grateful that I'm able to stand up and just walk. It's simple things.
Yeah, you'll be surprised how uplifting it'll be the first time you're after going through something like this, and you come back and when I was actually able to take that walk in the original injury, take that walker, set it to the side, walk 5 steps across the floor to her, which she was scared to death I was going to fall, but you don't realize what that does for your heart. It does for your mind, and it does for your soul. It's huge. It's huge, Yuri. That's another thing about the truck pulls that we do, that I teach people. They don't realize what a mental boost. Once you break that mental block and you get that truck to move, you do not realize what that will do for your attitude towards everything. Look at what I just moved. Look at what I put my mind and was able to do. It's very beneficial, and I wish it was something more people would tap into, because it's one of the greatest feelings you'll ever feel.
Yes, I remember the first time I pulled that truck, and it was amazing. And
Yeah,
it is only 1 minute for the most time, sometimes even less than a minute.
Yeah.
But is adrenaline goes really high, and when you finish, you have that sense of accomplishment that is just amazing.
Yeah. It's an amazing mental boost for anyone. You don't have to move it the full 90 feet or the full 80 feet, whatever we've got the course set up for. If you just, we've had the girls that'll do it for 20 to 30 feet, they don't even realize what a mental boost it is to be able to know that you were able to set your mind to this and move 18,500 pounds of mass 30 feet.
Yeah.
It's a huge mental boost. So, that's some of the things that I've used to get me through the injuries and stuff. But like I said, since 17, it was coming back from the ankle replacement was much easier than coming back from the original injury.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of good people around me, good friends, like you and Greg and Patrick. and people that were willing to help me and encourage me. And I remember the first day I went into the gym on the little knee scooter. I had the little knee scooter I'd scoot around on.
Yeah.
Just the love and support, the environment that we're in, and people don't realize how important that gym family environment is. It's super important.
But it is. But did you ever felt like the need to isolate a little bit? Because I will tell you the truth, right? When I first went through this, my initial reaction was I just want to isolate myself from everyone because I don't feel myself, and I don't want to be presented the way that I'm presented now with crunches in like half of myself, right? So I was battling against even getting out of the house because I felt that I was not me, right? Did you have this?
Right.
Did you have this with your first injury?
Not really, because the injury was so devastating and I was in the hospital for so long. I think that the isolation part of it was already built in, being in the hospital for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It was something that said, man, I just want to get out of here. I want to go back home. I want to sleep in my own bed. It was, so even though it was a bad situation, that may have been something good for me to not have that feeling of wanting to isolate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling, and
it's not a, yeah,
because a lot of people actually go through this feeling, and then right after that they start have a serious depression.
Yeah, and I know depression can be a major thing. My mother struggled with mental illness her whole life, and it's something that's where I get a lot of the positive energy, because I know that if I just, if I can make somebody else happy, or I can make somebody else smile, or I can make them feel good about what they're doing or themselves, and that's where my personality comes from. It gives me such a great feeling to make somebody else feel good. I kind of feed off that, so it just builds and builds into a more positive, positive
outcome.
Aura
More positive outcome. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And positivity is, it's something I thrive on. I just do my best, to get through every day, and like I said, I'm definitely I've been told many times I'm one of the most positive people. I don't try to be that way. It's just the way that I've had. I guess it's the way I've had to condition myself all these years.
Yeah.
And as far as the isolation stuff, being out here on the road by myself all these years is enough isolation for me, I think. So
Yeah.
that did help me with after the original injury and after the ankle replacement. I look so forward to being able to walk, or scoot back into the gym on the knee scooter and just see the people that I cared about, and see the people that I give positive energy to, and then I get their positive energy back. And if I make somebody smile, I get just as much energy from that as they get from me.
Yeah. No.
So it's
that's very true.
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. Absolutely. When you had the first injury, you said that you were on a strongman competition. It was a strongman or powerlift?
I was training for a strongman competition.
Oh, you were training. You were not at the competition.
No. So I was training for the competition. No, I was not at the competition, but yeah, it was just
It was what it was. Which gym?
At the 24-hour fitness there at Parker and Alma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was just like I said, a bad situation. I was rushing through it. I shouldn't. There was a lot of situations that put me in that situation, but it's just one of those things that happened. I can't go back and change it, but I refuse to let it. I refuse to let it hold me back.
Right. But let me just understand, because you probably built up to get to almost 1,000. So you did your warm up. You were good because you started with a low weight and you increased. So it was when probably the weight was almost 1,000. You probably had a spotter, right? Yeah. Someone was there with you.
Three actually. Yeah. But it was just, it was partly an equipment malfunction. The monolift that they had there, the locks didn't catch right, and it just kind of dumped the weight back on top of me. It
Oh, so
wasn't
you were actually racking.
racking. It happened during racking. Yeah, the equipment there was not the greatest, and like I said, I was rushing through it. I shouldn't have been. I was actually getting ready to go to Memphis that day, and rushing through my set. Just wanted to get that last single in, and that's where it got me.
Wow, during the racking, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So probably if it was the right type of equipment for powerlifting, which was those hack squats that you hack the weight right away, you didn't have this problem.
Yeah. No, it would have been, like I said, back then there wasn't the only good powerlifting gyms back then was the original Metroflex over in Arlington.
Yeah.
And living up in Plano where I was, I didn't have time to drive all the way to Arlington to train there. I just sometimes may do. It may have been a mistake, doing it there, but like I said, I can't go back and change it. I don't regret the decisions. Everybody's asked me, well, do you regret it? 100% no, I don't regret it. I wouldn't change a thing that has happened because I honestly believe that these things have happened for a reason.
That's a great point because everyone keeps telling me, "Hey, you're gonna come back better. You're gonna come back stronger.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason." I'm like, okay, but that was such a tough reason.
Yeah,
it's hard to find the reason when you are living it, the problem.
Yeah. Well, when you've gotten yourself to a certain point and you think things, you're happy with the way things are going, like with your jiu-jitsu and the way you were training and the way you were feeling, and you get that setback, it's hard to believe that happened for a reason. But being that my original injury was over 15 years ago, I can look back on that now and say, that probably did happen for a reason. It taught me some lessons.
If it taught you some lessons, what really changed? What really changed on you after that? What if you look back now? You can say, I learned about this, I learned about that, right? So, what was the main takeaway from that injury?
One of the main takeaways is only train when you've got the proper equipment and proper help. Should I have had a couple more spotters? Probably. Should I have been somewhere where I had the proper equipment to handle that much weight? Yes. It's made me realize, and that's what makes me, with the gyms that we've gone to, being part of Metro Plano and, the original Metro Plano and Hidden and Destination and all the other gyms that we're a part of now, to have that environment, specialized training equipment. That's the one thing I've learned, just make sure you have the proper equipment, the proper help, the proper spotters and stuff, so you don't get into a situation like that. It made me pull back and realize that sometimes it's not about just getting it done. Sometimes it's about getting it done properly.
Right. Quality.
Yeah. Quality over quantity every day.
So that was your main lesson, right? But like from the personal perspective, did you learn anything? Did you think it made you appreciate life even more? I mean, what else did you think it taught you?
I think it made me realize that life can be a challenge, and sometimes you have to rise above that challenge to get over that next little hump. But it's also made me realize that you have to take every minute of every day and appreciate it, because that could have been a lot worse than it was. It could have broken my back. It could have. There's a lot of things that you look back on now and you realize it could have happened. So when I wake up every day, I thank God for giving me another day. And I go out there and I set myself out to, if I can go make somebody's day, let's do it. Because it might help them get over a hump they're trying to get over. And the people around me, when I was trying to get over my humps, were very beneficial to me. So just trying to pass on that positive energy.
Pay forward.
Yeah, exactly. Pay it forward.
Yeah.
I guess that's the phrase I was looking for. But yeah, that's the most important thing it's taught me, is to make sure you have the proper equipment, the proper help, and surround yourself with people that, have the same mindset, same goals. It's very beneficial.
Yeah, when you are on an environment that everyone is chasing the same thing, the same type of improvement, and they share common attributes and goals, is extremely beneficial for sure. For the past 10 years, we've seen the area, mainly Plano, to grow a lot on those environments, right? Greg started, I would say Greg started this whole thing at the Metroflex Plano and just expanded. Now we have a lot of places like that.
Yeah, it's become, like I said, when he started it in '09, I think it was, he started building that core group of people that are like-minded in their goals. And then, like you said, it expanded and expanded, and now it's gone to, there's 4 or 5 different gyms up in that specific area that are really set to the people that are into the iron sport, bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, even CrossFit. So, it's been amazing to see that transformation in that area. And we were doing the truck pull a couple weeks ago, because it's been hard to do with the COVID thing and everything going on. And we were just sitting around looking at all the different backgrounds, the different ethnicities, and everybody was coming together under that one common goal of bettering ourselves and, inspiring each other to be better. So that's one of the amazing things that started from, Greg and Metro Plano.
Yeah, that's for sure. And the show of strengths keep growing every year.
Every year, and I've been a part of them since 2011. I think was the first year we did the truck pull, and we've had the truck pull and been a part of the show of strength ever since. And like I say, even though the different gyms have spread off into different branches, still, I'm part of all the different gyms up there, and I'm glad to be known as who I am up there. But it's great to see that we can go to this gym over here, we can go to this gym over here, and we still have those same people, migrate and get in different fields, and it's just a good thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you said that you also are dealing with some shoulder issues. Is that something that you already fixed, or is something that you are postponing?
Well, no, I drew you remember, let's see. Well, let's go through basically what's happened since 17. We'll kind of run a timeline down. In 17, I had the ankle replacement, learned how to walk straight again. And after walking crooked for 13 years, just getting out of the truck one day, my L5 ruptured. I didn't know it. I kept training. I thought, it's just a little back pain. It ended up being a 13-millimeter rupture in my L4 and L5. So had that fixed in 2018. January of 2018, I had my back surgery. Let's see, September of last year. And this comes from wearing a Bluetooth all the time on my ear driving a truck, because we can't talk on the cell phone. It's a $2,700 fine if you're caught with a cell phone to your ear in the truck. So we constantly wear these big over-ear Bluetooth things. And what that caused was, with the weightlifting, the pushing, the straining, that caused my mastoid bone to deteriorate. And my brain, I'd actually lost the hearing in my right ear for about, I guess it was about 6 months. And I thought, it's just fluid in my ear. Well, it ended up being my brain had pushed through the mastoid, and they had to cut my ear off and put a patch in there, get everything back up to where it was. And like I said, the week before, the medication they had me on for the surgery, the week before that surgery, then my bicep blade. My long head of my bicep.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. My Qualcomm's going off. But the long head of my left bicep let go. And the only option at my age, as long as the short head is still attached, I just have that little blank spot and a hump there. It's something I've learned. There's no sense in surgically fixing, because as you get older, that generally happens to older men and they don't even know it. That long head of the bicep just lets go. And then, of course, at my age, the doctor said it probably wouldn't do any good to fix it, because the minute you start lifting again, it's going to pop back off. So had the brain surgery in September. And like I said, in Christmas last year, I noticed a knot on my AC joint, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And, of course, all the years of lifting and tearing the supraspinatus and tearing the labrum and not getting it repaired had caused me huge shoulder issues on my right shoulder, shoulder pain. Then they still haven't figured out what this tumor was. They don't know. It wasn't infectious. It wasn't cancerous. It was just a 2-inch mass of white blood cells, and you can see right here on where they cut the tumor out. Mm-hmm. But the only good thing about that was shoulder pain anymore.
Wow, that's so many things. And that,
It's like it all started in 17, and since that 17 ankle replacement, I've had 4 different surgeries. So it's definitely been recover, go back down, recover, go back down. But I haven't let that stop me from being positive about it. And this last shoulder repair has made me realize I don't have to bench press. The heaviest I'll go now is a free bar is 225, and I do that with a block. I don't go as deep as I used to, because I don't want that shoulder to come apart, because there's not much left of the rotator cuff, and the only thing we can do to this is a shoulder replacement. And he said when we replace that shoulder, you're going to lose mobility. I've still got good mobility for some reason, so I'm just going to wait till the absolute last minute to have the shoulder replaced.
now that's a smart decision. And again, at this point, you are looking for longevity. You are not looking to create new PRs, probably not competing anymore. And the good thing is that you like the road that you are in today as a motivator for the people, because I'm a testimony of that. I've seen you making people lift. The first time that I did my 500 pounds deadlift, it was with you on my side, screaming at me to lift, and that made a huge difference. So keep doing that. You're very good at this.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is now I'm not going to compete anymore, and it's like you said, I've changed my mindset. Even though I loved powerlifting, I love strongman, I've changed my mindset. I'm down to 232 pounds. I used to walk around about 270, 260, 270. I'm down to 232 pounds. I'm lean. I actually have the beginnings of a six-pack, which I've never had before. But I have really come to embrace that it's not about how much I lift anymore. It's about how long do I want to do it. And as long as I can be in that environment and still motivate the people that are around me and do my truck pull schools and do that, it's really given me just as much pleasure and satisfaction as I did when I competed.
Yeah, no.
So I've taken something that, I've had to change one of my loves and passions, and I've replaced it with something else. And like I said, being around our gym family and the people that we're around is very important to me.
Yeah, that's amazing, Greg. Very inspiring. Thank you very much for sharing all this. We are almost at the time, but I will ask you to finish this with some of your, saying that you always have something on the back of your mind. So go ahead. Do you have anything to share?
Everybody calls it thumpisms or whatever you want to call it, but I always just try to tell people there's nothing you can't do if you set your mind to it. There ain't nothing to it but to do it. And if you can make them smile, it's worth your while. And just remember, it's just one of those things, man. If you can improve the lives of the people that are around you, you will get more out of it than trying to bring somebody down. You will get so much more enjoyment out of helping somebody else or just making them feel good. It's definitely a two-way street.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is what I do. I move freight in this truck and I lift weights. And like I said, if I can inspire somebody to do better, that's what I'm going to do.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for stop by and record this episode with me and to continue to inspire everyone. We really appreciate everything you do. Have a safe drive back home, and see you soon, my friend.
All right, have a good one, Yuri. God bless, brother.
Take care, brother.